How we doing? How we all doing? Night. Well, what time is it now? 9 o'clock. Probably about this time tomorrow, we'll either be getting ready for the main event or potentially main event may have already started. Kind of depends. But how we all doing tonight, people? How we doing? The eve of AJ Usyk 2. And yes, we are doing a live watch along. Yes, we will be doing that tomorrow. I'm a bit kind of confused because I'm seeing contradictory things about the ring walk time. Some are saying it's going to be 9:30. Some are saying it's going to be later than that. So I'm thinking maybe, I don't really know. I'm thinking a flash 7:30, 8 o'clock, maybe. See, the problem is I don't want to have a really, 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 really long watch along, like 4 hours, because that can mess with the algorithms a bit. I don't really want that. So we'll wait and see. Does anyone have an idea roughly when the actual ring walk will be? If you want to leave that in the comment section. 10:30 p.m. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, because I'm kind of thinking, right, we will do a watch along, that's a guarantee, unless something crazy happens. But I'm kind of like, when do I want to set it for? Because, I don't do the whole show. Because it tires. It's actually quite tiring doing them watch alongs, believe it or not. I know it sounds easy, but you're talking for a long period of time. It's not the easiest. And I'm thinking, right, how long do I need to have it going? Because I don't want to do any more than 2.5, 3 hours. So I'm kind of like that. So appreciate that. But let's get into the comments. Kamal, hi G-Man. You're my favorite, man. Big up to you, man. Thanks for that. I got to do this one. G-Man. All right, people. There you go. There you go. Only I can do that, mate. Only I can do that. Big up the boxing noise. Big up every time, G-Man, every single time. A big up the boxing noise. I never check my notifications on the little bell icon because I get people commenting loads, but I only seen you put me in a comment there a few days ago. New boxing channel called Boxing Noise. Boxing Noise. Was I reading that wrong? Boxing Noise. I've seen a couple of your videos, mate. Subscribe. I think you've got 18, 19 subs now. So big up to you. So anyone watching, if they haven't already, it's 47 in the building. Boxing Noise there on screen. And maybe by the end of this video, mate, I might do a little bit later. Maybe if we get over 100 in, I'll leave a link in and let a few people come on for a few minutes. Not long this time. I don't want this to be over an hour. But and Jamie, I see him with the super chat there. Salute to you. If you want to come on as well at some point later, if you're free, let me know. I might WhatsApp you it maybe later instead. But final thoughts, last minute prediction change. Nah, I'm still going with it. Big up to Jamie, man. How are you keeping, my man? Thanks for having me on last night, mate. I appreciate that. That was good fun. And yeah, we're definitely doing a watch along tomorrow. So everyone's telling me in the chat it's about 10:30. So I reckon 8 o'clock we'll go live. 8, half 8 roughly. I reckon 8, half 8 roughly is a good time to go live. A lot of people are saying 10:30, not before 10, 10:30. Okay, so yeah, we should be going about 8 tomorrow, give or take. AJ by devastating second round KO. That's a shout. Big up to Nordic. God bless to you, my man. Evening to Ben. Evening, how are you keeping? I hope you're all good too, my mate. AJ by hook or by crook this time? I hope I'm wrong, though. Yeah, I'm not going back on my pick. Have I located the piss bottle? There you go, mate. 100%. That says recyclable. I thought I was going to say pure there. Yeah, I don't really pay attention to recycling. But 10:30. I thought that said 100% pure water for a sec. I was like, oh wait, it says recycle. I've heard 9:30, but also 10:30. TalkSport say, okay. So basically like a normal kind of card, basically. I mean, because I know from speaking to guys over there, they're 2 hours ahead. They're 2 hours ahead of us, so I just assumed they do it maybe 2 hours earlier. G-Man secretly betting his entire bag on Usyk winning again. I haven't put any bets on this fight, but if I did, now this is a tempting bet, lads. I was very tempted today to do it. In Ireland, there is a betting company called Boyle Sports. They're big, like they're big major company. And they have Usyk, or sorry, they have Joshua, unanimous decision 9-1. That's what, if you put a tenner down, you get 100 back. Man, that's worth it. Seriously, right? Just think of this: AJ to win a UD, which I think could happen, very likely could happen. You put a tenner on that, you get 100 quid back. That's well worth a bet. I'm not really a betting man personally. I have done it the odd time. I'm not really one for doing it, but 9-1, getting 100 quid back off a tenner, that's not bad. That's not bad. AJ, that's like AJ UD. Like, I mean, I could easily see that happen, even if he doesn't deserve it. Usyk mugged everyone off by making people think he would come in heavier. Yeah, I'll be frank. I did think he'd come in a good bit heavier. Not to say a good bit. I thought it'd be kind of 225 or so thereabouts. But yeah, he's only half a pound heavier. Just seen a video from Kurt Wilder saying Fury has to give the WBC belt for legal reasons. El Chapahan maybe. That's, I don't know. Would that have an impact on the WBC belt? I wouldn't have thought so. I mean, the WBC have worked with Don King, for God's sake. They're very close with Don King, who's, a biggest scumbag. I mean, gee, Don King is just Corey the movie junkie. Great name. I like AJ's wait for the fight. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, they both kind of do. That's why I think I said with Jamie last night that a lot of these picks, sometimes I've done it as well. We read a bit much into them. And when they step on the scales, they're heavier or they're similar. And it's the same for this. Like, I mean, AJ is heavier, 44 pounds. Big up to G, big up. Excited for the fight, as are we all. You're going to watch Herkovich versus Zhang and Callum Smith. Yeah, and interesting. I only seen this today, right? Your boy here must be flipping Nostradamus. Because, do you know who's fighting on the undercard? Andrew Tabiti. Now, I knew he was fighting. But he's fighting James the Beast Wilson. Yes, I kid you, James the Beast Wilson. Now, I covered him in one of my boxing hype job videos. And I didn't think when I made that video he'd ever fight again. He's in there with Andrew Tabiti. Now, bear in mind, he hasn't fought since 2019 where he got a majority draw against the guy with something like 20 losses, James the Beast Wilson. And he's down a cruiserweight. James the Beast Wilson, although saying that but who was he meant to? He was meant to fight someone. I can't remember who it was. It was a random fight as well. But he's fighting James the Beast Wilson. So there you go. He will officially, if he's not already a boxing hype job, he'll officially be made another boxing hype job facing reality. G-Man is a top-tier specimen of a man. Yes. Definitely, mate. Definitely. Great content, man. Thank you. Appreciate that. You'd want to be. Man. You wouldn't this day. Wilder lives in his own little world. True that. I mean, Jesus, man. Wilder's himself. Wilder is himself. G-Man, if AJ and Daniel Dubois would have happened right now, who'd you pick? AJ. Yeah, AJ still. If AJ goes in there against Usyk and he takes a really, really bad loss, like he gets ironed out or something like that, we need to see how that affects him. But right now, you'd have to take AJ. He's just way more proven. I mean, Dubois is still relatively young. He's not fought anyone, in terms of like that level, the levels AJ's fought at. And the minute he stepped up to anywhere near a decent level, we saw what happened against Joe Joyce. So there's a lot of question marks around Daniel Dubois. Still a good few. So I would easily be picking him every day, or AJ every day. Even G-Man, you won't be far off with the UD prediction. I went for either fighter to win by a split decision 6-1. That's not a bad one either, mate. That's not a bad pick either. When I was looking through the odds for this, I was quite surprised. I was looking through and I was like, geez, there's some tempting bets here. And like there's bets here for this fight that you could see easily happening. Like a UD for AJ. I mean, that even a legit UD, who's to say he doesn't drop Usyk a few times? I couldn't believe that was 9-1. I was looking at that like, are they serious? Like, that's a live bet. It's a live bet. What do you think of AJ's first words after the weigh-in, being he's ready for 12 rounds? Haven't heard him convincingly about the KO all build-up. The more I look at AJ, the more I think he's going to try and box a bit, maybe apply educated pressure, if there is such a thing with AJ. That's what I think he's going to do. I think he's going to pick his moments and Maybe he's going to try and be a little bit busier. I think maybe that's more so, you know, because I'm sure in AJ's mind he feels that if I'm a bit busier but do similar to what I did last time, then I'll get a decision. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see. And thanks for the super chat, Simon. Appreciate that. They always get read out first. AJ has to use a stiff double jab to break Usyk's construct. Why are most boxing media writing AJ off? Usyk is favourite, but not invincible. And he's not invincible. No, you're right. And a double jab and a jab to the body would be effective against Oleksandr Usyk. But here's the thing you need to remember, right? Is that Usyk was able to get Anthony Joshua on the back foot instantly in the first round, right? With just a bit of head movement and establish his own jab. Now, a double jab to Usyk would be good, but I just think that lowering that jab down to the body is a better idea. That's just for me what I feel. And thanks a mil, mate. And I was going to say, I'll WhatsApp you a link if you want to hop on, but I might have to send it to you on Instagram or Twitter or something. I'll send it to you on Twitter instead if you fancy hopping on at about maybe 8:45 or 9:45, because obviously WhatsApp is on this phone and the one I use just to make sure the stream's looking okay, WhatsApp's not on that one. So what I'll do is I'll send you that on Twitter, a link if you want to hop on maybe for 15 minutes at the end. No, that's not the one. Give me a sec. Invite guest. Yeah, but I'll find a way to send it to you, mate, if you want to do that. But yeah, 100% smash the like button. Big up. Gee, you reckon if AJ feels is slipping away from slip from him again? I was wondering what you were meaning by there. He'll put his foot on the gas this time. That's a good question. I would say yes, but I wouldn't be shocked if he gets caught with a shot or something and put straight back in his place again. Punch Perfect Boxing. Jamie makes great videos. Absolutely great videos. Jamie is one of the best around. You know, he's come from... Jamie started YouTube, like 2 years ago, mate, and you're already at 4K. You're going to topple 5K easily by the end of the year. Like me, topping 10K by the end of the year. So Jamie is one of the best around. And Jamie's a great lad as well. Always have a lot of time for Jamie. And big up to Mad Chad as well. Shout out to you, man. If Usyk loses, could you see you? Yes. Just in response to that. And that's an excellent topic to talk about in a video if Oleksandr Usyk loses. Because he really has a problem if he loses, because he's not going to bring a belt. He's not going to be someone that promoters are going to want to risk their guys going in there with in case he beats him. You know, I think was it me and Chris were speaking about this the other day. And I said, you know, maybe, maybe Frank Warren will think of Joe Joyce. And then it was, Chris said it, and I was like, yeah, it makes sense that what do you have to gain from it? You don't gain anything now if you beat Usyk. At least if they were talking about Joe Joyce last year, before he fought AJ, there was a title shot at the end of it. But with Usyk now, it's like, who is going to want to fight him? Because it's such a high risk. G-Man versus Hat-Man who went in the street. Well, Hat-Man's my mate, so I wouldn't fight him. And he's a heavyweight. I was a middleweight. I think AJ is finished as a top 3 fighter. He's mentally fragile. I've said this once and I'll say it again. Okay? We will know so much about this fight in the first few rounds. And that's going to tell us so much about this fight. And just shout out to Bang for Buck PC Gamer. Any word to the 3 judges? Glenn Feldman, Steve Gray from England, and Viktor Fesenko from Ukraine. So, a bit like last time, they've got a judge from each person's home country and a neutral judge in Glenn Feldman. Glenn Feldman can be a bit... some of the cards are okay. He's up there with kind of like Steve Weisfeld, where you can you never really know. And the referee is Luis Pabon. Now, Luis Pabon is someone who I've seen him do some really, really good performances, and I've also seen him do some shocking performances, mainly Klitschko versus Povetkin. He was the referee for that fight. And we all know how that fight went. It was a shocking display. Klitschko should have been disqualified. Pabon did nothing. He refereed Joshua versus Ruiz last time around in Saudi Arabia. So maybe that's... But he did a good job in that fight. He never really needed to. There was no real rule breaking in that fight. And he normally is quite good. So I just worry if Joshua starts leaning on Usyk, making it rough, will he intervene? I mean, he should, but we've seen what happens. Like, that was in Russia when Povetkin fought Klitschko, and man, he did Povetkin no favors, and he really should have in that fight because Povetkin didn't do anything wrong. Klitschko was fouling incessantly. Even G-Man, hope AJ does the business tomorrow 3-time. I got no problem with people wanting AJ to win or people wanting Usyk to win. No issues either way. Usyk would be KO'd. AJ pre-Ruiz would have beaten Usyk, but not now. I think AJ pre-Ruiz would always struggle with Usyk. Usyk's face was beat up last time. I can't remember AJ landing a punch, a clean right hand. Usyk could just mark up quite easily. I mean, there's fighters like that, higher cheekbones and stuff like that. What do you make of AJ name checking Erislandy Lara and Rigondeaux as fighters he's been studying to emulate or capitalize on southpaw mistakes? Well, I mean, like, the two of them are extremely slick. Extremely slick. I can't see AJ trying to even emulate that. I mean, like, Lara and Rigondeaux, I mean, like, what I would say probably, yeah, more so capitalizing on southpaw mistakes because Lara and Rigondeaux are extremely slick. Not too dissimilar from Savon, Erislandy Savon. Well, a bit different, but Savon was so he still is. He's a slick fighter, and he caused AJ so many problems in the Olympics. So maybe he's remembering that, looking to capitalize on some of them mistakes. Big up to Sean Hodge Boxing. What's up? How do you see AJ winning? I can't see. I think won't be too good for him, but AJ LOL makes this one close. I think AJ's gonna. My pick was AJ on points, and I'm sticking with it. I'm sticking with it. Steve Gray takes this towel and shove it. Hey, I don't, but at the end of the day, right, he's not the first referee to do that. I had no issue with him doing that in that fight because he's not the first referee to do it. You know, Mickey Vane did it a few times. Big up G-Man. Pabon as a referee is definitely a good thing for AJ. Exactly. And big up to Chris. Shout out to you, my man, every single time. We got Chris and Jamie in here. And Chris, I seen you on Ultra Tech earlier. Shout out. You're doing a great job there. Absolutely fantastic. I seen that video. I actually clicked on Ultra Tech's video, not knowing you were on it, and I was like, I was actually thinking, is he watching Chris's video? And then I was like, oh no, that actually is Chris. He's just talking with him. So big up to you, man. Shout out to Chris Andre. It was disgraceful. Any other referee on another night, that referee would get flat disqualified. He should have been. It's crazy. Where does AJ find his public perception if he loses? Or where does AJ find public perception if he loses? Can he recover from that? I'm sure DAZN and Eddie Hearn have a plan. Put it like that. I'm sure they have a plan for him if he loses. I'm sure it would be more than likely a Dillian Whyte rematch rebuild. AJ, you know, was it outmatch? Me and him talked about this. Like, the level of superstardom he had even before winning a British title was crazy. I mean, I remember when he fought Jason Gavin, I think that was on Kell Brook, Jojo Dan, I think it was on that undercard, and he had pubs packed out to beat a journeyman like Jason Gavin. So AJ was just going from strength to strength to strength. He was already a star before he'd even done anything, really. A lot of them would have gone, because a lot of them were glory seekers, yeah, but a lot of them are going to stick around. So I think he will be okay. Will it take a dip if he loses again? Yeah, well, it's already taken a dip twice now. But I think he'll still be okay. And I think they'll have a plan to rebuild him and maybe do it gradually, a win over Dillian Whyte, maybe take on an Otto Wallin or someone like that to get rid of it. Say, oh, well, he's now overcome his demons with southpaws, because Wallin doesn't really... Wallin wouldn't really offer to... I don't think he's a bad fighter, but I don't think he'd give AJ too many trouble. So he's not a puncher, so maybe they do things like that to try and build them. And then who knows, they might see what Tyson Fury does in terms of will he retire. If that's the case, then you'd imagine Wilder would fight for a vacant title, and maybe they'll look to do Wilder versus Joshua. Who knows? So there's a video to be made for both guys in what's next for them if they lose. I think that Joshua, if he loses, there's plenty of potential. There's plenty of things that he can still do. Whereas with Oleksandr Usyk, if he loses, it's a bit more of a grayer road, because it's just the risk of fighting him is crazy. Where AJ, he'd still make a lot of money, so fighters would probably still want to fight him. You know, obviously they're looking at world titles, maybe not, but most of them, I would imagine, would. They'll get a big payday. What's your video on the weight in Chris Andre? Hatman been spamming YouTube with videos today. Man, Hatman's work rate is something else. Well done, smashing it as always. Thanks, mate. Appreciate that. Came here for Jamie, really enjoying it. Oh man, we'll get Jamie on. I will find a way to get him a link to come on here in a wee bit. And as I said, mate, it is now what time? If I can even just see, I know if I do this, I'll probably end up booting myself from the stream, which I don't want to do. But I'll find a way to get Jamie sent a link. AJ will get help from the referee, the judges, the ring size, you name it. So hope Usyk rips him to shreds. And I think Usyk knows that. I think he knows that he's going to be going for the knockout. A big up to Nate. It all depends on how AJ loses, not necessarily if he loses. Yeah, exactly. I think he can recover. There is a few tiers to the heavyweight division. I want to see the lung guns coming out and shaking things. You mean the young guns? Yeah, I thought that. I was like, lung guns. I was like, what? Is it? No, I would have been worried if he was 10 pounds heavier, yeah, but I'd say 4 pounds, it probably nothing really to worry about there, mate. I have 130 in the building. If you could, people, smash the old like button. How many likes are we on? We're on 48. Let's get up to 60 likes. Hearing AJ's been involved. I seen that. I seen that. And that was interesting. Because I'm glad you brought that up. That was interesting. I don't know. You know, that's a good question to bring up. And I was actually waiting for someone to bring it up. Maybe AJ, maybe it's not that he's not fully confident in Robert Garcia per se, but maybe he's realizing what people like myself, Chris, Jamie have been saying, that it's all well and good. It's all well and good, you know, bringing Robert Garcia in as a new trainer, but you need time to adjust. And maybe he's not adjusting properly to what Garcia is doing, in a sense that maybe he doesn't agree with it. Maybe he'd need a bit more time to ingratiate himself into Garcia's style and his method of training. And maybe he's just having reservations now going into such a big fight because, you know, like I said, it's good when a fighter does change trainer, especially if you've stagnated with the previous one. But I wouldn't advocate going into arguing the biggest fight of your career with a brand new trainer you've trained with for all of 4 months. I wouldn't advocate that. I didn't advocate it for Tyson Fury when he came with Javon Sugar Hill in December and he was fighting Wilder in late December and he was fighting Wilder in February. You can go look at the channel. I was like, shouldn't have done that. I was wrong, but I think that's the exception rather than the rules. I agree that he does have options. While AJ Wilder would be a great fight, belt or no belt, it would be. It absolutely would be. People forget that Lennox Lewis was gun shy for several fights before he got his confidence back. If AJ overcomes Usyk, he will be in a great place for a Fury fight. I think if AJ beats him, we'll see AJ Fury next, 100%. Why is Usyk so confident? Is he taking this fight lightly? No, I don't think he's taking this fight lightly at all. I think he's training. I think he looks in good shape. I think he's taking this fight damn serious. But I think that with Usyk, he's probably in a very good place in his career now. Probably physically, mentally, and everything. And I just think that with Usyk, he just feels like I've already I already knew what I got for 12 rounds. I'm not having to readjust or anything like that. I know what I'm going to get with you. So maybe he just feels confident that he just knows what AJ is going to bring. Regarding the WhatsApp stuff, I think he likes exploring the ideas. I think it's in his nature. He'll always be like that rather than it being a sign of doubt of Garcia. And that could be it as well. I mean, like, he did say to Clifton Mitchell in the first Usyk fight before it started, what would you do? So, maybe AJ is that. And to be honest, I'm trying to get away from that now, but I used to, not so much now, still a little bit. But I would be the kind of person as well who would be similar to that. Like if someone gave me advice, I'd always like a second opinion off someone. Um, it's not always the right thing to do, so that's why I've kind of shied away from that a bit. AJ was much more confident in the face-off. Was great to see. Yep. I mean, he definitely looks like he's got the bit between his teeth. It's just we need to see what it's like in the ring. I think I said the first round alone, but the first 3 rounds will tell us a great deal about this fight. They will tell us an absolutely great deal about this fight. Is AJ mentally right? I believe he is. I believe he is. AJ will swallow it again. He's in these group chats because he's seeking validation consistently. His confidence is shot to bits. As I said, man, we will see. The first 3 rounds, we will get a fairly good gauge on what way this fight's going to go. We'll get a fairly good gauge. I'm trying to think of a fight that I could kind of say I have a similar feel to about this. And I don't really. I was kind of almost, nah, that's a poor example. But it's a weird feel to this fight. You just feel like there's drama. But at the same time, there's a part of me that could see Usyk just absolutely tearing AJ. So for me, it's a real interesting one. And that's a great theory there. A lot of people have said that as well. Do you buy the theory that Usyk deliberately underperformed against Witherspoon and Chisora? No, I don't. And I'll tell you why. Because I'll go back to Miles' comment in a sec. I'll tell you exactly why I don't. First and foremost, the Witherspoon fight, he was out of the ring for nearly a year and he had an injury. So I don't think he was going to look the best because Usyk consistently prior to that had been... Usyk turned pro in 2013 and he was consistently fighting. I mean, he won his world title, the WBO Cruiserweight title, his first title, in September 2016. He was defended in December 2016 and then April 2017. And then he was consistently fighting, if you know what I mean. So having a year out of the ring, injury, he was always going to look a bit rusty, going up to heavyweight as well. And against Chisora, I think that style early on just caused him problems, but I think he beat Chisora pretty comfortably in the end. So I don't buy the theory that he underperformed. There's some people like to say that. I don't buy it. I think it was just as I said there, that Usyk in the Witherspoon fight, he had an injury as far as I believe, originally gone. He was a bicep injury. And then that was months before. And then he was out of the ring for a year when he'd been active for many years prior. So I think that's all it really was. Huge ups, G-Man. I hope AJ jabs Usyk's liver underneath Usyk's own jab. Great shot when facing a southpaw. I agree. I absolutely agree. Not me. Great name. G-Man, the fight is 9 a.m. in San Diego, Cali. I'm drinking brew so early tomorrow. Jeez. What beer are you drinking, mate? What beer are you drinking? Hopefully some good, strong stuff. Just heard AJ's getting 50 mil. Even if he loses, he's still a winner. Yep. I mean, imagine. Look, but when you think of it like this, right? AJ could go in there and get knocked out in the first 30 seconds and come out with 50 mil. I mean, imagine. Or he could knock Usyk out in the first 30 seconds. I'm not sure why Sky commentary called it. Yeah, well, that was BS. That was just Sky trying to... It wasn't close. Usyk showed Joshua another gear, in round 12. I wonder how much that has planted a seed in Joshua's mind that he's in with another level again. He could very well be, mate. 40 million each. Jesus, man. Now, see, if you're Usyk, unless you get Fury, Like, he's going on 36. Like, how much longer does people talk about AJ? But Usyk's older. How much longer does he have? And he's getting 40 mil plus a 50-50 on the pay-per-view split. I mean, he can literally go and do whatever after that. That's crazy. AJ coming in heavier is convinced me this is going to go all wrong. See, he's not that much heavier though, mate. It's not like he's, crazy heavy. So I'm not too worried about that. Usyk going easy on Chisora is nonsense, in my opinion. Heavyweight boxing, yep. That was just with Chisora against AJ, that style, or against Usyk. I mean, that was bothering Usyk early on, but he adjusted fairly well. 9 a.m. brew, I can't think of anything worse. I think the earliest I've ever had a drink of alcohol is like 2 in the afternoon, 1 or 2 in the afternoon. I've never drank it like that early in the morning. I don't think I've ever done that. Even like if I'm going to the airport and I'm flying out in an early morning, I just drink coffee. I never drink alcohol in the morning. I never have, and I don't know if I probably never will. I'm not a big drinker. Why does AJ try to win these face-offs? They're so insignificant. I don't know. Maybe it's just maybe he feels it's a moral victory. Like Tyson Fury wanting to stay in the sauna for an extra to beat Klitschko. Usyk will outbox him again. Do you think there will be a trilogy if AJ wins? Well, so that's a good question, actually. If it's a close enough fight and Tyson Fury does decide to retire, legitimately, well, I mean, I'm sure maybe Eddie Hearn wouldn't want to, but if there's no other options, maybe. It's an interesting one. I know a lot of people, and it'd be on the DAZN pay-per-view. So there you go. AJ has to take risks to win this by KO. Only way he gets a chance for me. I'm still going with AJ to win myself. No, I read that already. But you are Irish. It means absolutely nothing to me, man. I've been called like so anti-Irish on this because I always pick against Irish fighters. And I pick against them because they're all shit, that's why. 4 pounds heavier but looks much leaner. Yeah, it's nothing to worry about. Are you going to use VPN to Ukraine? No. I'm going to just watch it normally because I'll do the watch along. I don't want any issues. You know what I mean? As in, like, I don't want it glitching or buffering or anything like that. The Wi-Fi is good here, but you know what I mean? I'll watch it on the TV and that's that then. AJ ain't a Mexican style boxer. It's a round peg square hole situation. Be funny seeing AJ on the Beck's boat and the Beckman's boat doing a selfie with Posh, laughing with Brooklyn. Yeah. The Beckhams. Oh man, he is a straight away. Honestly, like if AJ wins, Tyson Fury's fighting him next. If it's not, then we're really in the kind of what'll happen next. That's 172 in the building. I appreciate all you guys. I love seeing the number. Like I still kind of find it crazy. I get 100 people in the building. I have 70 likes. Let's try and get to 100. Let's try and get to 100, lads. I'll definitely be trying tomorrow while you're watching. Appreciate it, mate. Appreciate that. 100% watching it on VPN. It'll be donating the pay-per-view to Usyk's charity. Spence says AJ's been speaking to him about tactics, cause for concern. That's weird. That's interesting. I wouldn't have thought Spence would really be kind of Derek James, maybe, but Spence, interesting. What's up, G-Man? I saw a bit of boxing at the Commonwealth recently. Fun day out. Even managed to get on the TV in the background. Man, big up. I was seeing a good few of the fights from the Commonwealth Games. And thanks to Jamie again, because he does a lot of the amateur work. And I do like the amateur scene. I like watching amateur boxing, but I just don't watch it religiously or follow it religiously as someone like Jamie would. But definitely there's some good little talent there. If Usyk wins, I can see him signing with Ben Shalom next day. No, I think he'll go top rank. I'd say I think he'll probably end up going top rank if he does. Just to try and get that Fury fight, and he's worked with Bob Arum before. Not with it as a promoter, but he's fought on a couple of Lomachenko undercards back in the day. Russell Crowe estimated he would be, Russell Crowe, I mean, Jesus, people. Good old Russell Crowe. I don't know why people say Fury won't fight Usyk if Usyk wins. Fury strikes me as a legacy fighter who won't pass up on undisputed. I'm convinced he's more willing to fight Joshua personally. I'm not saying he's afraid of Usyk. I've never said that, but I just think that he sees the Joshua fight as more a fight that he can get up for. Whereas the Usyk fight, I'm sure he looks at Usyk and maybe thinks, you're a small little guy, but you're fast, and I'd rather fight AJ. Why was AJ speaking to Errol Spence? I mean, apparently to get tactics for this fight, but I don't really know. Like, again, like, people read a lot into this. You know, Muhammad Ali, when he was going to Zaire to fight George Foreman, right? And bear in mind, Ali was trained by Angie Dundee for the majority of his career. That's who trained for the Foreman fight. What did Muhammad Ali do before going over to fight George Foreman? He phoned Cus D'Amato. You can go look this up. He phoned Cus D'Amato. And what did he do? He asked Cus D'Amato, how do I beat George Foreman? You can look that up and verify that he did do that. Yeah, Amir Khan talks absolute you know what. I think he meant Spencer Oliver, not Errol Spence. Thank you, Karma, and shout out to you. I hope you're keeping well. I hope you're keeping well, Karma. All the best. I was wondering when he said Errol Spence, I was like, I don't even think I've ever seen Joshua mention Errol Spence. Well, thank you, my dear, for pointing that out. I appreciate that. I was wondering, I was thinking, Errol Spence, what? Is AJ being out at a gala dinner tonight a sign of anything? Oh, mate. St. Rocks. Watching MJP interview with Ronnie Shields. It was interesting that Shields was Joshua's first choice. Really? Ronnie Shields would have done a good job. I would have definitely preferred Ronnie Shields. Personally. You know, I think Ronnie Shields is one of those trainers I think he's underrated. I don't think he gets enough credit. I think Ronnie Shields is a very good trainer. Don't agree with people VPNing to watch it. Usyk doing that for a reason. I'm just doing it because it's easier on my end. If I'm doing a watch along, I don't want. That's why I don't like doing watch alongs with DAZN, because the Wi-Fi here is good, but I'm streaming to here to YouTube, and I'm trying to stream something else as well, and it's just like, oh, I'm hoping nothing goes crash, because there've been times, you obviously can't see it, but there's been times where DAZN has slowed and the quality's gone down to like nothing. And I know that's because I'm doing this and it's causing it to slow it up a bit. Why is AJ asking us for advice less than the day before the fight? He should already have a definitive game plan. Well, he did that last time, to be fair. So maybe, as I said, maybe he is just looking, and I've done this in the past on things, for everyone's opinion, just so he can go in saying, right, I have left no stone unturned. I know what I need to do. Now, I've done that with certain things in my life, and honestly, speaking from experience, I would say not to do it. Your first instinct should be your own. And if you have one close friend you can ask, that's it. That's what I think you should do. But, you know. Will AJ Fury be 50-50, or will Fury pull out the retirement cards to get more? Well, obviously, like, I would imagine Fury, even though AJ will have more belts, Fury's the guy with the undefeated record. I'd say he'll probably get the lion's share. Probably, and the fact that he's just done Wembley Stadium, I'd say he'll probably get the lion's share. I do think that. I think he'll probably get the lion's share. Now, I haven't figured out a way to do this, so I'm gonna give this a go, and hopefully it doesn't mess up the stream. All right, bear with me. Didn't mess up, did it? Perfect. Because I wanted to WhatsApp Jamie a link to come on if he wants it. He's more than welcome. But I didn't want the stream to get messed up, because my other phone doesn't have WhatsApp on it. It's only this one, the one I'm using to record. So hopefully he gets that okay, if he's at home. Where was I? For the first fight, do you think it was Usyk overperforming or Joshua underperforming? I think that Usyk had a lot more in the tank and the Joshua underperform. Hard to say, really. I think Joshua tried to box with Oleksandr Usyk and that just didn't work. He came off second best. And Usyk didn't need to overperform. Looking forward to seeing if AJ is willing to get close and release his best punch, the right uppercut. And as I said, that's going to be, he's going to have a lot of success if he uses that punch, just saying. Will AJ come into the ring, smile and high five the fans? I hope not. I doubt it very much. I think he's going to try and come in the hard man. Yeah, hard man. You know? One of them. Like bad boys coming into the ring. Yeah, we don't play around. You seen AKA Skins? He's intimidating, man. Real intimidating. This fight is gone south from the jump. AJ storming him from the bell, only to be swiftly stepped aside with his own momentum, bouncing headfirst into Joey Gamash. Saw Ainsley Harriet. Yeah, that's the avatar. There you go. Look at that. Look at that. When you get some good news, that's the avatar you want to use. There's a channel out there saying AJ is that. Your reaction? Has someone said that before? I don't know. Not really something I would give two shits about, to be honest with you, mate. It's not something I'd be covering anyway. Garcia said Wilder would knock AJ out. He's changed his views since becoming a trainer. Of course he has. And you would. You would. You would. Yeah. Big up to Ainsley. Yeah, boy. He loves that meat. He loves that meat. And you give it a rub. Yeah, boy. Yeah, big up to Ainsley. Every single time. Look at that there. Big up to Ainsley. In fact, Ronnie Shields advised AJ to go with Garcia instead. He said the reason he rejected AJ was because he couldn't dedicate as much time that AJ needed. Really? That's the first I heard about that. I didn't realize that. I mean, that was just... Does anyone remember that? That was crazy. I remember seeing that at the time and thinking, this is like... People are trolling with this. This isn't legit. Like, this isn't real. And lo and behold, that's Amir Khan, though. That's why I miss Amir Khan from boxing. Because he is just entertaining. He is just entertaining in the ring. He's entertaining outside the ring. Every part of Amir Khan is just completely... It was 2017. Amir Khan is just... I don't even know with Amir Khan, but he is just so flippin' funny and he doesn't mean to be. You know, there's people like that, and they're the best kind of people, where they're not trying to be funny, but you just cannot not laugh at them. You know, and that's the biggest problem I have. You know, I see people like here in my job who, when they're really, really stressed, it's just so flippin' funny. And the little noises they'd be making, oh no. And I'm there breaking me bollocks laughing. And I'm like, yeah, they're not liking this, but it's so funny. And yeah, Amir Khan's just one of them like that. He's not trying to be funny, but you will laugh. You will laugh like you know what. Such an intriguing fight. AJ has the physical advantage. Usyk has all the skill. He definitely does. I mean, like, I think we're going to see drama in this fight. I do. I really think we are going to see drama in this fight. I don't know when, don't know quite how, but we are definitely going to see a little bit of drama, I believe. I'm looking forward. I can't wait for this fight, lads. I can't wait. Looking forward to the undercard as well, as I said. You know, Tabidi versus James the Beast Wilson. I mean, where the hell did that one come from? You know, did someone see my boxing hype jobs video and think, well, G-Man said he's undefeated. Let's do something about that. Let's make him a hype job getting exposed. Prince Nassim on commentary. Prince Nassim, Carl Froch, and David Hay on commentary. The three of them. Get that done. Get that over the line. 3 of them on commentary. Nightmare scenario. Ortiz beats Ruiz. Wilder beats. Good Lord. Good Lord. Could you imagine? I mean, Ortiz Ruiz, that's only a few weeks away. That's literally 2 weeks away. And it's just been nothing about it. Completely almost forgot that fight's happened. AJ has to fight Bo in the first fight against Holyfield. Just watched the AJ interview. He seemed so unconfident. Hate to say it. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen his most recent IFL interview. I don't think being bigger is always an advantage. Give me 2 secs. Gonna plug these in. Boom.
Hello.
You alright, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Can you hear me all right?
I hear you just fine. We getting the house tour, are we?
No, so I'm away from home tonight, so I've got the AirPods in, I've
Oh
got the phone
shit,
out, so
man.
I'm using it a bit
Oh man.
differently.
Shit, I didn't know that. I wouldn't. Fuck. I'm not hoping I interrupting anything.
No, of course you're not. No, I'm just been away with work and stuff, so it's easier to stay away tonight.
There we go. What you thinking? What you thinking about the weigh-ins? We said it last night that maybe we were reading too much into it, and we definitely were. Same weight pretty much for Usyk, 4 pounds heavier for AJ. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I was surprised that AJ was a little bit heavier. Obviously, it's not a great deal heavier, so I'm not going to
No.
pretend like it's a big deal. But it surprised. I thought he was going to be below 240, so it did surprise me a little bit. But yeah, Usyk, I thought he'd be a couple pounds heavier, but not too much. We spoke about it last night, so I wasn't overly shocked. But I'll be honest, I've been very confident in a Usyk victory, and as fight week's gone on, I've kind of had my big fight nerves and jitters. But seeing them at the weigh-in again, he's just cold, man. I think he could have stood there and stared at AJ all day and not flinched or blinked. I don't know, he
It's
just
that eye
seems to give you a lot
contact
of
he has as
confidence.
well.
Yeah, I
He
remember
just seems
someone
to
once
look through
said,
your soul.
yeah, someone once said Usyk looks like he knows something that you don't, and he gives off that vibe. So that's the kind of thing I got today as well. So
He does, and people have been saying, and I seen that video from Talksport where they were saying AJ was in the WhatsApp group asking about this, but that. I think that's in AJ's character more so than anything else. To be honest, like maybe I don't know, maybe he is not regretting hiring Robert Garcia, but maybe he's regretting just jumping into it so quick. Maybe
yeah,
it's kind of hitting him that he needs to more time.
I was going to ask you, what was the thing about the WhatsApp group? Because, like I said, I've been traveling about today, so I've seen people mention it on Twitter, but not necessarily explain the story. So, what was it that happened?
So he's in a WhatsApp group with Spencer Fear on basically a Finchley kind of WhatsApp group, and was asking them in it what would be your tactics going into this fight. So not what Robert Garcia is teaching them, what would be you guys' tactics. So basically, Garcia has this tactic. He wants to know what these guys' tactic think he should do, and who knows, God knows who else he's at. Maybe Clifton Mitchell as well. Someone like, what do you think I should do? And for me, I just think that AJ strikes me as someone who I've said it before. It's almost like he has this idea in his head, but he'd need like me or you to say, yeah, it's a good idea, rather than go for it himself. So I kind of take that to kind of say like, well, that's just Joshua probably maybe not having doubts on Garcia, maybe thinking, oh, wish I had a bit more time. And these guys know me. What do you guys think we should do?
Yeah, it's almost sad to hear, really. It sounds like just a bit of a lack of kind of self-confidence and self-belief. He almost always needs that reassurance. And just when you look at the two personalities in the ring on Saturday night, Usyk, I doubt at any point in the camp has had to ask for any kind of reassurance. You know, I'm sure there's
No.
personal things regarding the situation in Ukraine where he may have opened up to someone in his team and sort of spoken about how he's felt. But in terms of the fight itself, I doubt he's needed to join a WhatsApp group or to seek outside opinions. You know, if he needs an opinion, they'll ask his coach and then they'll work on it.
I think Usyk has scenario 1, 2, and 3 there. Whereas like maybe Joshua only has one scenario, and if that goes wrong, it's like, oh no, who do I ask? You know, does Robert know? Does Angel know? Where's Spencer Fearon?
Yeah. It's really. What did you? I was
It
going to ask what you made of the glove situation. I've seen a lot of people talking about Joshua's wearing the Grant gloves, which they're deeming more as punchers' gloves apparently. But I'm not. So they're not exactly the
mm,
Everlast MX or the Cleto Reyes. So I don't necessarily buy into that.
I actually, before coming on here, was chatting with Hatman on Elements about this,
Hmm.
and I kind of concur with some of the things he's been saying that AJ is trying to channel his old self. And if you
Mm.
see the Dylan White fight, he wore kind of colorful clothes, he'd red trunks, and he'd Grant gloves. So
Hmm.
I kind of think maybe he's looking at that and thinking that's what I want to do. I mean, Grant gloves aren't really a puncher's gloves per se. They're not Everlast. I mean, Rival actually. You'd argue are more puncher glove than Grant,
Yeah.
just because I love people. I love boxing gloves. Rival, if you said to me you want a puncher glove, you have to choose between Grant and Rival. I'd say give me the Grants because they're more a puncher's glove. They have a little
Mm.
bit of hard horsehair in them still. I'm not sure if they do in Saudi, but they normally do. So I don't know. Maybe I think for me it's just he's probably trying to channel that old AJ, and the old AJ wore Grant gloves. He was knocking people out. He wore colored shorts. I think that's more what it might be.
Yeah, well, Matchroom posted a video of AJ and Usyk both trying on their gloves, and there was a bit where AJ said he wanted to wear the red Grants because it reminds him of the 80s era where people used to wear gloves that weren't branded and throwback to the red gloves. So you can see he's trying to channel something. He's definitely
Yeah,
like he's trying to buy into something to give him a bit of belief. Which is cool. It's
yeah.
cool to see in one way, but it's also it could be deemed just get on with it sort of thing.
That's what I think. Like, use the glove that works best for you. Don't just use it because you
Exactly.
think it's going to channel something. He went to Rival for a reason.
Mm.
So, like, and he's used them, normally uses Rival. So, I don't know. I found that one a bit of a strange one. I mean, like, I'd be kind of, if he said he's using Everlast MX or
Hmm.
Denaro gloves, then I'd be like, oh, he's
Yeah,
going
he's
in for the
going for
kill.
it. Yeah.
Those two gloves are puncher gloves. Or is this Salvero or something like that they're called. They're real puncher gloves. If he was using one of
Mm.
them, I'd be like, yeah, he's going for it. But Grant, nah, man, Grant are more. They're not the word that they've tick foam, but they're not a
Mm.
puncher glove, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. So, how are you feeling? Feeling confident about your prediction? You still riding with it?
I'm still. Only if I really know I messed up, and I
Mm.
normally do know. Would I go back on it? Am I 100% sure? Hell no. Am
Yeah,
I
it's
thinking I'm
impossible.
gonna have egg on my face again? Not as bad as the Dylan White one because that was bad. But yeah, that was bad. But no, I'm still going with AJ on points. And what's your thoughts? Interesting. What's your thoughts on the judges and the referee?
Yeah, I mean, I've been laughing in my Discord server about the possibility of it being Steve Gray, and when I saw it
Yeah, I
today that it
know.
was him, I mean, at least it's not him reffing. He's a far worse. I think he's the worst ref in the country. To be honest, I've said that so many
I actually don't
times.
mind him as a referee.
Oh, I
I
can't
actually think
stand
he's
him as
not
a
that
ref.
bad.
He never looks like he has control of a fight, and I think a heavyweight
Mm.
fight between two top level guys is the worst possible thing. Um, yeah, Feldman's an interesting one. He's had a lot of scorecards in the past that I've agreed with, so I'm not going to
Mm-hmm.
sort of go against him too much. I think it's okay. Pabon's had some stinkers, but he's also had some ones that have been okay. Again, it depends. You know, last time AJ and Usyk didn't need too much separating. The referee didn't
No.
have to play too much of a role. So, unless one of their plans is to be a little bit more physical this time, hopefully Pabon won't have to get involved. I know you tweeted earlier. I remember the
Yeah.
Klitschko versus Povetkin one where when you have to get involved in a clinch, he didn't know what to do. So I hope there's not too much clinching this weekend.
And that's the thing about Pavon. He's had some good, really good showings. But then you have that one where it was just like, that was one of the worst showings you could have as a referee. That just put such a
100%, yeah.
dark light over you that
Mm,
I'm just worried that, because look, I think one of AJ's tactics should be, not that it's legal per se, but it should be to try and use your size. And if you have a
mm.
referee who's going to let you literally away with leaning on him, I mean, Lewis Pabon is the kind of guy whose track record would suggest that he'd be fine with that.
Yeah, he's very much, he either has a very bad night at the office or a very good night at the office, and there's kind of no in between with him,
He
really.
did referee Ruiz too, AJ
Mm.
Ruiz too. So who knows? Maybe they're thinking maybe it's a good omen
Yeah, I was having
for
a
the
look.
second fight.
I think Feldman and Steve Gray judged as well, didn't they, that night as well? Someone put it in the Discord earlier.
Feldman, I'm fairly sure did. I'm not sure. It might have actually been Steve Gray as well.
Yeah,
So
I think
it's
someone sent me a screenshot earlier. So those two have done Joshua in the past in Saudi.
I think though the last time he fought in Saudi against Ruiz, I don't know. I know you weren't on YouTube at the time, but I was just like Josh was winning this fight.
Yeah,
I was 100% sure. Whereas this one, it's like no.
yeah. I
So as
mean,
much as it feels like it's not.
The Ruiz one kind of felt like the first fight was a bit of a fluke. It was a bit of one of those one-off nights that you won't see again in sort of heavyweights. It's just one of those great moments. But this one definitely feels different. It feels like AJ could just
Mm.
be in with his kryptonite this time.
What do you think about the undercard? Like I just seen today, Andrew Tabidi versus James the Beast Wilson. That's just so random.
Yeah, I quite liked Spong versus Tabiti. I thought it was quite an
That was
interesting
who it
fight.
was, wasn't it? I was wondering
Yeah,
because I was like, he was meant to fight someone. I couldn't remember who it was.
yeah, it was Spong. Apparently, he had travel restrictions or something. Something didn't enable him to
That's weird.
travel anyway. So yeah, I was quite intrigued for that one, just out of interest to see where either of them are at in their careers. Hergovic Zhang really interests me because Hergovic should smoke him, but seeing him, Zhang is big and he weighs a lot heavier. And Hergovic does get hit. He does. He's a little bit nonchalant defensively. He hasn't looked great. Like if he does get hit, I think we're going to see some form of reaction.
Oh
So
yeah.
I was quite
Did
shocked
you
to see how big Zhang was.
did you get the weights for both? Because I didn't see the weights for Hergovich and Zhang yet.
I can't remember the weights off the top of my head, but I remember Eddie Hearn saying in the IFL interview that Zhang was a good like 20 pound heavier or so.
Oh really?
He's big, and if you just see them like every weigh-in so far and every fight, Hergovic has just looked like a monster compared to whoever he's in against. Zhang just looks bigger up top. His head looks about 3 times the size of Hergovic. Like he just looks like a bigger man than Hergovic does.
Zhang
But
has the type of look of someone who would take a good shot, doesn't he?
yeah,
Kind of though, like that kind of bit like Marius Wack has that big, huge
yeah,
skull. You just
like
think
bone
like he'd
density.
probably
Yeah,
yeah, you think he probably would take a good shot as well. So that'd be interesting. Oh yeah, 260 Zhang, Hergovich 244. See,
okay,
like
yeah,
244 when Hergovich is in the 230s. I'm happy, but he's been in the 240s because I think he's just not been doing enough training in camp. He's looked softer. See him three,
yeah,
4 years ago. He was lean. He just
yeah.
looks soft now.
His feet have looked a lot worse since he's put on a bit of weight, I've noticed. So, I mean, that's again, it's one of those where you think Hergovic, if you watch Zhang um, against Jerry
Forest, wasn't it?
Forrest, you
Yeah.
think, yeah, Hergovic is going to absolutely destroy him. But you don't know, do you, at heavyweight? It just takes that one shot. And for all of Zhang's kind of physical issues, like he tires
Mm-hmm.
and he's getting old, he's clever enough to set up a shot. Like he's a very good Olympian. He's well schooled. He's well drilled. He'll find that left hand. So it'll be interesting.
And he can, if there's one thing Zhang can do, he can punch. And if
Yeah, he
Hergovich
can bang.
thinks he's got a good chin and he can take Zhang's shots, he's in for a rude awakening. That's the thing. Like realistically, this fight should be straightforward for Hergovich, but you can that's why I love heavyweight boxing.
Mm,
Because if you've got a welterweight with good power, but he's limited in every other aspect, he's probably not going to win.
yeah,
But with heavyweights, it's like, but there is that chance. There's if there's like a 30% chance at welterweight with a puncher, it's a bigger chance at heavyweight. That's why I
yeah,
love the heavyweight division so much.
yes. The ultimate equalizer, isn't it? At heavyweight, you can like even when you think of fights like Frank Sanchez versus FA Jagbar, Frank Sanchez had him on toast in terms of skill, but there
Yeah,
was always that
you were
notion
always
that if
worried,
Jagbar
like,
lands, it's
and it's like
possible.
this. It's like this with Usyk, though. If you think about it, like I mean, Usyk will be boxing AJ. I remember thinking that in the last fight, the first fight, especially in the 11th round, I was like, Usyk's like Klitschko. He's winning this fight comfortably, but if he slips up one iota, that's it. It's over.
Mm, exactly. That's what makes it so intriguing. I can't wait, man.
That's
Every time we talk
no,
about it, I
no.
get more excited.
I'm doing my watch along. That's given now tomorrow.
Nice
So
one.
hopefully you be involved, and yeah, you can put links into your aftermatch show because definitely we're gonna lock in for that. I can't wait. I cannot wait to see this. And I was just saying in the chat, we are gonna have so much to talk about. Whoever wins or loses,
Mm,
we're gonna have so much to talk about for the next week about this fight. It's gonna be just.
absolutely.
It's gonna be a lot of. It's gonna keep us all eating over here on YouTube for at least the next week.
Yeah. Well, I think of the last fight when We had AJ getting a new trainer potentially. We had step aside potentially for Fury.
Mm-hmm.
Like we had so many talking points for a couple of months afterwards. I'm sure we'll have the same this time.
We will have the same and the rest, especially if AJ loses and Usyk wins. We're just going to have an absolute field day. It's just going to
Yeah,
be a free for all here on YouTube.
it is indeed.
Mate, I appreciate you. I don't want to keep you on too long, so I know you're away. Appreciate you coming on, man, every single time. Next time we do it, we have to do a full one together. That's what the people
100%.
always say.
Yeah, let's
15
do
minutes ain't long
a
enough.
catch up afterwards.
Definitely, mate. Man, all the best. Enjoy your trip, and I'll chat to you tomorrow. Okay, mate?
Nice one. Take care, mate. Thanks for having me.
Anytime, mate. All the best. And for those who don't know, what's the guest's name? Punch Perfect Boxing. Just type that into YouTube. Punch Perfect Boxing. He's a good mate of mine called Jamie. Great channel. 4.3 thousand? Oh, 4,300 subs. So 4.3. So Punch Perfect Boxing on YouTube. Okay, we've just gone over the hour. We've just gone over the hour. And how many, what are we doing on here? How are we looking for time-wise? 109 likes. You lads are just smashing it. We'll do another 10 minutes and then we will chat tomorrow. G-Man, you saving us from the extortionate price tag with the watch along. Yes, I am. And if you guys are watching this on a different way, and by the way, for Master Sauce, Punch Perfect Boxing, Jamie, that's my guest. Shout out to Jamie. Can't thank him enough. Great lad. Appreciate you coming on, mate, every single time. And yes, I will save you from having to listen to Adam Smith. Adam Smith has been very quiet this week, but I will save you from the Sky commentary. Like I save you from Mike Costello most weeks. I will save you from all that. I will save you from all that. You'll get my commentary. You get the alright people, and you'll be laughing. I'm going Joshua majority decision. Can't wait for this fight, but I'd love to see a short time limit on holding the belt. If you don't fight within 6 months, you lose the strap. We're being denied great fights because of inactivity. I know, but that's never going to happen. Let's say Joshua wins tomorrow. Do you see a trilogy before we get a Fury? No, I see him going straight into the. I see him going straight into the Fury fight if that's the case. Actually, before I read that, can I pin that comment? How do I pin it? Sorry there, mate. Start this comment. I'm hoping that stays. So that's Jamie's channel. For anyone who doesn't know, I think I pinned it. I hope I did, mate. I'm seriously hoping I pinned that comment. I started it, so I'm assuming that's something. Big up to Jamie, Punch Perfect Boxing every single time. I'm an Irish man from Poland, or in Poland. Irish man from Poland. I'm an Irish man in Poland, and it's exclusive in your DAZN package. Can't complain. That's a good deal. Obviously, boxing probably ain't as bigger in Poland as it is over here. So we have the brilliant Sky Sports, tremendous Sky Sports. Yeah, Punch Perfect is like an encyclopedia. He's tremendous. It will never fight. I think he'll fight again, definitely. If there was only a way to have YouTube people, if there was only a way to have YouTube people to have their own channel get so much better, unbiased truths. There's only have YouTube people to have their own channel, as in like more YouTubers to have their own channel. Stops AJ in 10. If Usyk stops AJ, I reckon late. If I was Usyk, I'd be expecting AJ to target the body, as would I. As would I, my friend, as would I. So where are we at? 165 in the building, if you haven't. The old like button. Keep smashing that like button. That's interesting, that next question. AJ leave Garcia, whether he wins or loses. That's something I worry about with Joshua now. If he loses, would he go back to Rob McCracken? Because maybe in his... Here's the thing. Especially if he loses worse this time around. He might turn around and just think to himself, well, people said Rob McCracken wasn't good and he wasn't right for me, but I did better first time than with him. So, and I hope to God he doesn't go back to him, but I do worry about that more so. Maybe when do you think a stock rises to us? But I don't think it'll ever rise to that, but it'll definitely rise in the UK. But have Canadian DAZN package, no pay per view. Look, I'm doing the watch along, so I'm just gonna go and put the hand in the pocket. Hey G man, can you sum up what made you pick AJ? So I think AJ tactically can do this. I think he can do it if he can change it up. So go from head, switch the head from body, try and set your punches up like your short shots. Don't just go in and try and smother him because then he knows what he's doing. He's smothering you at the same time. Set the shots up. And if you're going to apply pressure, apply it, educate it. You know, try and back Usyk up, but don't go and throw the kitchen sink at him and try and pick up the rounds like that. Go to Usyk's body and slow him down. Having said all that, I think the main thing is, unfortunately, the politics as well. So if AJ does that and say he wins 4 rounds legitimately, I could see a few judges giving him another 2 or 3 rounds. There you go. MD, you've won. I sense it's an early win for Usyk this time around. Okay. I meant to comment on the fights and break them down on TV instead of the same old people. Yeah. I get you. I was wondering when you meant that. Mate, I'd love that. Maybe someday, mate. Maybe someday I will. After saying that, like, I don't like working for people. I know it sounds weird, but I don't like it. But yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to keep it on here. But yeah, I'd love to do something like that. You know, I've obviously been to shows and I love being around them. It's great. So maybe someday, hopefully. You never know. You just don't know. McCracken isn't necessarily a bad coach, but saying brilliant AJ in the corner when he was being destroyed was just comical. Imagine Teddy Atlas in this situation. Yeah, Teddy Atlas would have just given him a you know what. Kind of new to back. Would it be possible for AJ to retire if... Would it be possible for AJ to retire if he wins badly in this fight? No. He'd keep going. He'd keep going, definitely. 100%. In the public work, AJ was doing some reps, cutting off the ring, looked fluid and quick. Expect that to be critical if AJ wins. Now, a lot of people were saying in the public workout that he didn't really look the best. And I said, look, at the end of the day, it's a public workout. You're hardly going to go in there and look $1 million unless you're David Hay and you know, are trying your best to punch as hard as you can. Most of the time, they're not going to really try and do anything. So it's just they go through the motions in a public workout. It's kind of what they do. So I never really look at the public work. I never take it too serious, if you know what I mean. It's never been one for me. I've never taken it too serious. So where are we at? We are at 1 hour and 8 minutes. I'm trying to think. Will I do another 10 minutes and maybe pop a link in if anyone wants to come on? Or just for quickly. See, the problem with them is like I want to finish in 10 minutes, and that could drag on for a while if that happens. That could drag on for an awful long time, and I've got other stuff to do as well. So if we don't have anything else, I think we might just end it here. How much do you think it's possible to change AJ's mentality? Well, it's very hard to do that. Very hard. I'd say it's not impossible. Everyone can change, but very hard. You wouldn't do it in 4 months. It's about 4-minute rounds with 30-second rests. Yeah, that will set you up all right. I mean, I'd well believe it. And if he does that, that will set you up. That will set you up. Sullivan postponing Wilder for the reporting Wilder for the WBC after 2 losses. Yeah, I mean, the league, Sullivan and Wilder, they've always been close. He walked to the ring with Wilder for a couple of his defenses, like. So he likes Deontay Wilder. Wilder probably thinks Sullivan is smart, which he absolutely isn't. And there you go. I mean, there you go right there. Therein lies the problem. Therein lies the problem. But people, I am probably going to call it quits there. What time are we at now? It's just after 10 o'clock. So yeah, I'm probably going to call it quits here. Probably about 8:30-ish tomorrow. We will go live for a watch along. If any news comes out in the immediate time, you know full well, I'll definitely get I'll definitely get it out there. But for now, lads and lassies, I'm going to end it here. You don't have to see the curtains anymore, the horrible curtains, which I do need to get replaced, which I will eventually. But for now, people, I will ask one thing: just smash the like button on the way out. I really appreciate if you could. We've had over 170 in at some point, so if anyone's new, hit subscribe, all that good stuff. Try and get us up to 10K by the end of the year. And yeah, wish us luck for the coming week. I've got a lot of things coming up next week. A lot of things off YouTube. And I definitely need a lot of luck. So hopefully you all wish me a bit of luck next week. I need it. Please give me that. I never asked, but that's what I will be asking. So hopefully we get a bit of luck next week. I keep that to myself, but I need it. It's been a funny old time. So let me know let me know your thoughts on this. Hope you all enjoyed it. Smash the like button on the way out. Good night. God bless. Hope you're all good. Peace.